know, it was on a day like this that Uncle Harv died out here fishing.
A day like this when Noah took off, too.
You ever heard about Uncle Harv?
No.
Well,
What happened to Uncle Harv?
he was out here with a good buddy of his, Wilbur Amix, over in Clinch. Boy, that's out here fishing. It's close to one of these coves right here, I do believe. It might have been that one right over there. Came a storm up like this. Damnedest thing, clear sky, just one patch of black. But it was clear on both sides. Lightning hit right in the middle of the boat, busted in two, flew Wilbur over in the woods. Never found my uncle. Well, they found his body about a week later, but he was dead. Wilbur Stewart. And that is because, now wait, now this is true. Because of that death, for 400 generations, my family is doomed to hell and to serve Satan. That's just another story in itself, though. If you'd like to hear that story.
Go ahead. I got plenty of tape.
Well, let me tell you that story. My grandmother was so despondent over her son's death, the oldest son, by the way. She had a maid back then that lived out Striggersville. She was a Jamaican woman. Aga was her name. And my grandmother moped around for weeks and weeks. She just couldn't believe her older boy was dead. They went through the funeral and she just cried. And my grandfather tried to console her. Buried Uncle Harv up there at Stewart Cemetery. Well, one day Olga came to my grandmother and said, "I need to Stewart." Well, I can't do a Jamaican accent, you know. I'll just do a Swedish accent, just pretend like it's Jamaican.
That's good enough.
Mrs. Stewart, I know how you can get your son back. My grandmother was just enthralled. She didn't know what that was. It turned out that Olga was into devil worship, satanic devil worship, and voodoo and all that shit. And my grandmother was just thrilled. God, you know, her getting her son back, her oldest son back. She decided to go through the ceremony that Olga told me about. Late one night, she got up, her and Olga left the house, went to the Stewart Cemetery. I think you had to have a dead carp head, 2 chickens, and rainwater from a barrel that hadn't been touched by human hands for 20 years. That was the hardest thing to verify there. They might have cheated a little, I don't know. They took all that stuff up to Stewart Cemetery, went through this elaborate damn ceremony, and all the time Olga was showing my grandmother how to do the ceremony. And then my grandmother had to make a request to Beelzebub, as he's known in the South. She started crying. She couldn't believe that it was almost here, the time to have her son back. She started crying and said, "Oh, my son, Harv, I love you so much. I just want, dear Satan, dear Beelzebub, all I want back is the body of my dear beloved son." And everything, she went on through that, you know, and Olga said everything was right. And she went home, said she just wanted her son back. That's all she wanted. Please give me my son back. They went home. Grandfather was in the bed. My grandmother went to bed that night with a smile on her face, believing that voodoo, Jamaican voodoo, would work. Next morning, my grandmother woke up. You know what happened?
What happened?
In between them, in the bed, was Uncle Harv. But they forgot to ask to bring him back alive, so he was still dead. My grandfather had to go back out and bury him again. That's a family secret all itself, too. They went through all that stuff, and she forgot to say bring him back alive, and he came back dead. And they had to go back and rebury him. My grandfather got 6 months for that, by the way, too, down here in Office County Jail. I think that's what led to him being a homosexual in his later years. That jail sentence for 6 months. Is there anything else you'd like to ask me? About my family, I'll be...
Well, you shared a lot with us, Terry Joe. I appreciate you sharing that story with us.
I hope that's a secret, too, because it wouldn't...
Oh, that's off the record.
Around the South, it would not do to know that the whole Stewart family is destined to eternal hell. Because they worship Satan. But that's a true story, by the way.
Well, thanks for sharing that with us.
You're very welcome anytime. I'm going to write a book on it in my later years. My grandmother's mistake. That's a tentative title. Do you have one better? I know
how
what.
about dead guy in the bed?
No. We'll change it around. We'll have some type of monkey's paw on the thing, and we'll call it the monkey paw. Did you ever never read that story?
No, I've heard of it. Yeah.
You don't remember monkey paw?
I've heard of it. Yeah.
That's a true story. If you go back to